guys? Welcome back to SFeatleyTV. We're back for another episode of the Chequered Flag Show, and I've got Charlie from Dugout Daily. How are you, mate?
I'm not bad, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. First pre-practice sessions have been quite surprising, but we're going to talk a little bit about that. But there's a lot of news to go through, actually. So we're going to head straight into it. And first off, we're going to talk about Lando Norris, the McLaren driver at a minute, and had a decent session yesterday in Monaco. In both practice sessions, obviously, it was more about just trying to, with Monaco, you score back confidence, and you could build confidence by keep pounding around the track and building the confidence up to how much grip you've got available to you. So he did they had an all right day. Obviously, they got their new Golf livery, which looks absolutely amazing. But what do you say? Obviously, Charlie, you're new to F1, but what do you make of Lando Norris as a talent?
I think he's a decent driver. I don't think anyone can hate Lando Norris, really. He's probably one of the most liked characters in F1, to be fair.
Absolutely. I mean, he's only 20 years old now, so he's quite young for 21 now. So he's still very young. And what's happened is he's turned himself into one of the leaders for McLaren, and so much so he's agreed to a new deal. And I'm just going to bring up new deal contract. And so he signs a multi-year extension with McLaren. So I'm just going to quickly bring this up, because obviously McLaren's still trying to fight for Ferrari for third position in the championship, which is looking like a very close battle. But yeah, so you see Lando Norris has been rewarded for his impressive growth as a Formula One driver and strong start to the 2021 campaign with a fresh multi-year contract to extend his stay at McLaren for 2022 and beyond. The Briton, who has been part of the McLaren family since 2017, has scored the second podium of his career in Imola earlier this year. He sits fourth in the driver's standard and is on one of 9 successive points finishes. This came on the eve of the Grand Prix weekend, where McLaren will race one of its Gulf oil inspired blue and orange livery. The British team announced the new deal for the 21-year-old. So also just quickly show everyone the new livery as well. So we'll just quickly show this one. So there's a new livery they're doing for this race, going back so many years of I think it was about 65 years now. Yeah, 1966 was their first. There's actually 1966 Monaco Grand Prix was their first ever race as McLaren. So 65 years this has been going on now for McLaren, and they're doing a special one-off Golf livery for this weekend. And do you know what? I'd prefer this to be in a game than actually the normal one. I think they should keep it. I think a lot of fans are going to try and keep it. A lot of the older fans are going to recognise it too as well. What do you think to this compared to their normal orange colour?
I quite like it, to be fair. I think it looks all right.
Yeah, it looks like it does look like a fairly decent livery, doesn't it? I mean, I wouldn't mind racing in that, but yeah, it means Norris will be at the team until at least 2023, bringing him in line with new teammate Daniel Ricciardo's contract, with the Australian revealing earlier this year he has signed a 3-year deal from this season. McLaren said in a statement that the confirmation of its driver pairing beyond 2022 signaled McLaren's racing's commitment to stability for the future and represents a further step in the team's long-term plan to compete at the very front of the field. Zach Brown, the CEO of McLaren, said, "I'm delighted with the extension of our agreement with Lando for 2022. It's been instrumental for our return with here McLaren, and we are proud of his growth and shown since he started back in 2017. That's my shit version of America of Zach Brown's accent. But I think that's good. That's a good result for McLaren. They've got really good stability at that team. And you feel that with the new rules coming in, that McLaren will be able to challenge at the top?
They could do. Lando Norris is still young. He'll improve over time. Ricciardo's not a half bad driver, so I think they could improve a bit.
I think that's the thing as well. Is Norris has got a race winner there who's won the Monaco Grand Prix as well. So he's got a proven race winner that can, and like one of the best overtakers on the grid as well. So he's got someone who's got experience that can learn from. That's the main thing. Do smash the like button, please. Do hit the share button and subscribe button. Make sure you also go check out Dugout Daily. He'll be doing his preview tomorrow at 3. He's got loads of shows tomorrow to do. So go check him out. He'll probably be live all bloody day. Right? Right? I'm gone past the point of doing that. Right? I'm free strike. I'm trying to keep it to free streams max. But yeah, so I think for Lando, it's been a great start to his career and a great start for McLaren as well. And McLaren look like they're on their way up, and I wouldn't write them against off being at the very top next season. I think they're still a bit behind Red Bull and Mercedes, but they're close fight with Ferrari. It though could spell trouble a little bit, because if they're in a close fight for third, they'll stop thinking so much about next season's car if they want to challenge for this third position and get them the money that's involved. And that could mean that they miss out on vital development for that car. So it's balancing out, because obviously they can't spend as much money as they want these days. There've been new budget caps added to this season. So we'll wait and see and find out. But like I said, do smash the like. Get people involved as well. Right? We're trying to build the F1 community here. So make sure you do that right now. And yeah, you got any questions, Charlie, as well? Because I know you're new to the F1 game. Just ask away, because I could tell you most things about F1, pretty much nearly everything. So yeah, just fire away with any questions that you got.
Yeah, I will do. I've not got any yet, but I'm sure I'll have one.
So yeah, so Lando Norris's deal looks very concerned. I'm going to go back to now another British racing team, Williams, and it's a special time, this Grand Prix for Williams. It's their 700th Grand Prix, 750th Grand Prix for the racing firm. It wasn't the original Williams team, which was bought out by Wolf back in the 70s because it was failing under Frank Williams. He then came back with a second team and took a lot of risk financially to do it. And you now have Williams where it is today, with I think it's 9 drivers' titles and 7 constructors' titles. I'm not sure. Might be the other way around. But yeah, it's one of the biggest names, and it's one of the very few teams that have lasted so long. Only 2 other teams which have lasted this long. GP. So, yeah, Williams will be celebrating a landmark moment at the 5th race of the season. Just bring this stream in. There'll be of 2021. Formula One season, as the iconic British team becomes only the third team in the sport's history to participate in its 750th Grand Prix. This significant achievement has been marked in the run-up to the Monaco Grand Prix with a multi-channel campaign planned to highlight the incredible journey of the organisation founded by Sir Frank Williams and Sir Patrick Head in 1977. Since its inception, a core foundation of Williams has been summed by its people. When you join the team as a driver, staff member, or a supporter, you become part of the Williams story. With only Ferrari and McLaren having participated in more Grand Prix events, Williams will celebrate the anniversary by encouraging supporters, employees, and other sporting personalities to remember the race or the moment in their lives that began following and supporting Williams, and then asking a simple question: what's your race number? After finding out the red race number using a bespoke calculator on the Williams website, 100 lucky fans will see their name carried along on the halo of the FW43B, that's this season's car, over the Monaco weekend. So that's what they were doing. So I knew there were some changes to that. So it's an incredible achievement for a team that's lasted that long independently. It's only just been taken over by a corporation for this season after the Williams family stepped away last season. But as an independent team that's had other sponsors like BMW coming before, it's a major achievement to be able to last this long, especially with the amount of how much it costs these days. It costs a lot of money. The power units are about 40 million a piece. I think that's just even the power, the engine part of the power unit, which is 6 components. So just one component is about 40 million pound. The numbers are staggering in terms of how much it costs. So it's quite an achievement to be able to survive that long. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Because I think we all remember Williams when we were back. Williams GP. Back in, I remember particularly of them back in these days, right? These days, 1996, with Damon Hill, the Williams, like Roffin's Williams livery. I also remember I'm back in 2002 when I first really was watching Schumacher in the BMW Williams. But that was when they were still competing at the very top. They haven't been competing, obviously, for a number of years. They did manage to make a revamp into 2014, but the money they have, they didn't have the money that Mercedes, even McLaren, and even Ferrari enjoys. So they obviously were big supporters of a budget cap. So yeah, so they haven't. That's why they've fallen back down so far, because they haven't had the money to invest. You've got to have the money to invest in this team, into the sport, if you're going to achieve anything. And they've been struggling financially ever since, especially since the hybrid era started. So yeah, and yes, but they usually play a major role in sort of the driver academy for Mercedes, because if you see George Russell was racing the Mercedes last season, as we all know. He was racing the Mercedes because of Hamilton having COVID. Nearly should have won the Grand Prix in the end, and he looks like to be the driver that's going to replace Hamilton when Hamilton probably retires, either this season, maybe next season, because Hamilton really wants to stay till next season. Here's a question. That's a question for you. I'll ask you, Charlie. What do you think? Hamilton will stay another season, or do you think he will retire if he wins another championship?
I think he'll stay. I think he'll. Is it 9 championships if he wins it this year?
If he wins it this year, it'll be 8. He'll beat
8.
Schumacher's record of 7.
Yeah, so I think he'll stay for another year or 2 after this season, to be honest.
And that'll be the only record that's left to break. So you could say afterwards, you'd have every right to retire.
Are you concerned that he'll retire?
I'm not concerned anymore. It's going to happen one day. It's going to happen. It's going to happen at some point. And don't get me wrong, when he leaves, I'll probably be shedding a tear over it because it's had such a major effect on my life. And being a supporter of his for so long, and yeah, it will have a massive impact on how I feel. But in the end, the sport's got to move on, and Mercedes have to move on. And
do you think F1 will be the same without Hamilton or not?
Nah, won't be the same. Right? You can't have F1 the same as it is without our 7-time world champion in it. It's like when Schumacher left. You can't. It's not the same. He defines that this era that we're in. He defines it as the best of the best.
Yeah, when you say F1, you automatically think of Lewis Hamilton.
But that's the thing, and I can't stand people that can't register any achievement for this guy. I don't care if you hate the guy, right? You could hate his guts, but you respect what he's done.
Yeah, you can hate him, but you still got to recognise what he's done for F1 as a whole.
And it's not just on the circuit now; it's off the circuit. What he's doing, he's come out and said, and I'm going to repeat something that he's come out and said in a press conference. Lewis Hamilton equality. So this was Lewis Hamilton emerged as an important figurehead on the Black Lives Matter movement ahead of the start of this new season. Go away, please. The 7-time world champion took to the social media to insist and keep pushing for more diversity in the sport and beyond. He said he stated to aim to making the sport as diverse as the complex and multicultural world we live in, supporting greater diversity and inclusion in all its forms in motorsport. He said he vowed to keep pushing as long as I have air in my lungs to do so. And this is also achieved by, I think, towards about people with. I swear he came out with something just recently.
I'm not sure.
It came out with something recently.
Did it?
About the billionaires. Boys Club F1. I swear he came out saying something about it. Got you. I've got you right here. He said this a day ago in a press conference. Lewis Hamilton said in a press conference, I'm going to bring this up now. To keep smashing that like button. I'm going to actually drop the link. Sorry, I'm going to drop the link in. Let everyone know the links in the chat. Let them know that it can come on if they really want to. By all means, open to all. But Lewis Hamilton says Formula One has become a billionaire boys club. The 7-time champion told Spain's AS newspaper it would not be possible for him to break into the sport from his background if he tried to do so now. Growing up in a normal working class family, there is no way I could be here. The guys you are fighting against have that much more money, he said. We have to work to change that, to make it more accessible for the rich and for the people from more humble origins. So say if we tried to do it now, Charlie, for example, we'd never get in the sport.
Yeah.
Because you've got people like Mick Schumacher, even Nico Rosberg, Max Verstappen. They got amounts of money backed up behind them. They got billionaires backed up behind them. On the current grid, Canadians like Stroll, Latifi, Mazepin. Mazepin is a great example of what I'm talking about. This guy, after what he did in terms of the indecency he did, the video he did, and now he's doing this whole equality of we race is one thing, which is just beyond me, right? This guy should not be in Formula One because of what he's done, but because he's a son of a billionaire and Haas need the money, you can't really blame Haas because they need the money to keep going in Formula One. He has to be in the seat.
He's so bad though, isn't he? Mazepin. He's terrible.
He is, isn't he? It just is at the minute, and I'm going to move on to it's brought something else up that I'm going to bring something else up about Haas as well, because they've been warned as well. So I'm just going to go back to have a look at that article. Haas drivers.
I've just shared the stream, by the way.
Yeah, wicked. Get people involved. Right. I think this is just a simple warning because it's Monaco and it's so easy to make mistakes. I don't think it's... So, Haas rookies Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin have been issued a simple warning by team principal Günther Steiner ahead of their F1 debuts in Monaco. While Mick Schumacher and Mazepin have both previously driven around the Principality in F2, this weekend will be the first time the duo have tackled the street circuit in F1. Steiner insists, given the level of performance of the VF12 this year, the VF21 this year, there is no pressure on either driver, and that the weekend should be part of their learning curve. To that end, asked to what the drivers will be briefed on going into the Monaco week, he simply stated, stay out of the walls and off the barriers. That's what I'll let them know. Easier said than done. Once you're in the barriers in Monaco, your session is lost. You cannot get the car back, and it's normally pretty damaged anyway. There is a big challenge. It's a very tight circuit. It's obviously a street circuit, and you've got lots of people watching. Everything you don't want on a race like this. On the other side, though, what you want to do it though. That's why we're doing it. There should be little pressure on the drivers knowing where our performance is. So basically, it's just the warning that, like, it's not an actual warning. It's just letting them know that the car's not good enough. So we expect you not to perform, and just make sure you bring the cars home. And they're going to be at the back of the grid because they're focusing so much on the next season. They're putting so much of their money and time and into next season because that's all they can afford. That they're not developing the car. So if you don't develop the car, you don't go faster. If you don't go faster, you're at the back of the grid. And it was pretty much bad to start with, but this season, Williams are going to be ahead of them. And Williams, last two sessions now, could have easily got into the top 10 into final qualifying. So, I mean, Do you know how the qualifying system works usually with it?
I've not actually watched the qualifying session yet. I've just watched the 2 Grand Prix, the last 2.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do you have that? As you said, you're packed tomorrow, didn't you? So the qualifying is 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock. Because it's quite fun, the session, because it's free. It's basically 3 sessions. The first one's 18 minutes long. The second one's 15 minutes, and the other one's 12 minutes with a 7-minute break in between. And basically, they go out for the first session. The first 5 drivers from that session get eliminated. So from 20th to 16th, you're eliminated, right? Then the second session happens. Now, the next 5 drivers are limited from that. So 15th to 10th, you're eliminated. But if you get through into the top 10, the tyres you've set your fastest lap on in this session, in qualifying 2, are the tyres you're going to have to start on the race. So that is why you will see Mercedes and Red Bull, who've got a distinct advantage over the others, go for the harder tyre to give them the better options in the race, though it's a slower tyre.
Yeah.
So because it lasts longer. So, that's why you see a lot of teams try and do that, to try and get a better advantage in the race. So then you'll have the top 10 where they're given an extra set of tyres, because they usually have 3 sets of softs, 1 for each session, and an extra set if they make it through to the final session. I think it's 2 sets of mediums they usually have, and about 1 set of hards. So they have 6 tyres in general, but they usually want to use the softs. So so they'd have 1 set, and then they get an extra set if they get through to final qualifying. And final qualifying, basically, top 10 go out and try and get pole position. Simple. It's only until the British Grand Prix where they moved that to a Friday. They used that to set the sprint race qualifying, which is on the Saturday. You have a 100-kilometer sprint race for that, and then that decides the grid for the big race on the Sunday. And they're trying that at the British Grand Prix, the Italian Grand Prix, and the Brazilian Grand Prix, all provided they all go ahead. So that's the plan with that. My thing is, like, that's going against what F1's about and what F1 traditionally does, and that doesn't really go with me. What do you think?
Same as you, really.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I think the last thing to really mention is, what was it that I needed to mention, is Monaco, obviously. When you think of Monaco, you think of F1.
Yeah.
Most of the time. Playboys, witch houses, big, billionaires living there, F1 drivers live there. Literally every F1 driver has a house around Monaco. Obviously, it's a big race for Leclerc, as he actually was born in Monaco. He's actually a Monegasque himself. He didn't perform well in his first one for Ferrari. His first one for Sauber, he crashed out because of brake failure. And so this one, he's really looking for a good weekend. And if we look at the Monaco FP1 session,
I imagine with F1 fans, when the calendar comes out at the start of each season, you look for the Monaco Grand Prix straight away. Yeah,
it's like you look for your arch rivals in when the season fixtures come out. It's like the same here. When's the Monaco Grand Prix? When's the British Grand Prix as well? Because the British Grand Prix is the home of Formula One. It's where the first race was ever held for the Formula One World Championship. There have been Grand Prix going on this, and this is the 67th Monaco Grand Prix in the actual championship. The actual Grand Prix, the Monaco Grand Prix itself, is 78 years old. 78th Grand Prix. It's been there's had 78 of them. It's going back to all the way to 1929. So, which is why plus where it is, the track as well, you could put that track anywhere and it'd still be just as thrilling to do. But yeah, the whole thing behind it is that when it was cancelled last season, this is why this season everyone's been bursting to have it back. I've been dying to have it back. So hence why I want to do every single session and record and do a watch along to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you can hear it something in the background, don't worry about it. But yeah, the FP1's Perez actually got the fastest time, which is going to help him because Perez has been warned he needs to pick up his game. He needs to help. He needs to help Max Verstappen fight the Red Bulls fight the Mercedes. Sorry, because if you've got Max Verstappen against two Mercedes, the Mercedes have got the upper hand on the strategy to use both cars to work the strategy around him to beat him. Whereas if they've got if he's got him backing him on, then it becomes a more equal fight. And what you've seen is when he's not qualified at the front, both him, what you've seen is Verstappen been outdone by Mercedes' strategy, both in Portimao, Spain as well. They've been outdone the strategy, even with Bahrain. Again, you saw they had the better pace, but was outdone by strategy because you've got two cars against one, and it's in the end it doesn't. As much as Max Verstappen is fastest, he's not been able to.
Seems like your mic's been unplugged. You don't sound like just in that sentence. You suddenly.
How's that?
Quiet. The exact same.
How's that?
Still the same.
Oh, it's gone back to that fucking thing again. There you go. How's that?
It might be. It sounds better, but I might have.
What about now?
There we go. Sorry.
Right. Yeah, it decided to put it to the bloody camera. I don't want it the bloody camera. Right? If I wanted the bloody camera, I wouldn't use this, would I? Christ. Anyway, so we'll go to F.
Oh.
Fucking thing.
You're having a stinker, lad.
No, it's just the things don't want to fucking work. Now this surprised me a lot this session, FP2, because Perez ended up fastest, but no, that was FP1. Sorry, right, and Perez was fastest by Sainz, right, in the Ferrari, who've been struggling with McLaren. They haven't been up there with Red Bull and Mercedes, right? But then again, people could be doing different strategies, you see. They can't see, look, Hamilton was straight back up there in third. But again, Ferrari fastest, only ones into the 111s, right? And that's on the same tyre. That's not on different tyres. So that tells a lot. Have Ferrari found some pace this weekend that could get them a podium and, my God, even getting them pole position? Could they really be in the fight for pole position? That's what I want to know. But what do you think? Do you think that Ferrari could fight up there?
Potentially. They've had a good couple of practice sessions. as you said before, the qualifying for the Monaco Grand Prix is probably the most important in the F1 season.
Yeah, that coupled with Singapore.
So if I see that, if Ferrari do get pole, which I think they could end up winning the Grand Prix, to be fair.
They could. It depends also maybe like strategy is. It mainly depends on the one pit stop because it'll probably be a one stop race as well. So
can I ask how many laps will it be?
There's 78 laps.
70.
But it doesn't. It goes because they all try to do it to a certain distance. Each Grand Prix is up to a certain distance and covered, but for this race it's an exception because it's so short. So so for this one about 78 laps, but back in the day you used to do 100 laps. 100 laps, and back in the 50s, and it took the very first one back in like 1929 30s, it took them 3 hours.
Wow.
Right, and 2 hours and a half back in the 50s, and then obviously it came down, and obviously then they set an actual limit of distance, but it used to be 100 laps back in the day. And back in the day as well, when you used to change gear as well, you'd be changing gear so much and it'd be a frenzy of activity. You'd have blood come, even back in like in the late 80s, because the amount of activity changing gear all the time, steering was really heavy and everything. You'd have blood coming out your hand, out of the gear, the hand you change gear with. You'd have blood coming out your hands.
Wow.
Because like of how much goes on and how physically demanding it is.
Yeah.
So it's that's probably why when you see drivers like Ayrton Senna and even Michael Schumacher in his early days that maybe had to cope with changing gear all the time and winning Grand Prix despite that and win championships, you have more admiration for that because of how more demanding it is. Probably doesn't mean that these cars aren't demanding. Trust me, like if you threading this through a street circuit like Monaco, it takes someone very special to do that. And I mean, I wish I could like show you a lap of like Monaco and on board, like because it's insane. I think the fastest lap by Hamilton was just insane. It's just so fast and so quick. And nowadays you see runoffs like Sander Vot has a little cut-off area where the pit lane exit goes, and also where there's a runoff area just down the road. There's an escape road. There was an escape road at Mirabeau. There's always been there. But there's always been like an escape road at the chicane, which actually didn't used to be a escape road. It used to be just another road that came back to Saint Devot, but you just went left, right to carry on down around the harbour. But they turned that into a proper chicane. But to back in the swimming pool back in the day didn't used to be where it is now, where you could go flat out. And you have a little runoff area with speed humps and you can get away with it. Back then, you'd have physical barriers staring at you, right? And at a 90-degree angle, and you'd have to be flying into like towards these barriers at about 140 mile an hour, and then have to brake and precisely left, right, and you had no room for error. This and the Rascas as well wasn't like straightened up a little bit. It was proper turning left and then turn all the way around. So it's the back in the days of Schumacher when he first won his one, like this and where Ayrton Senna set probably the greatest ever qualifying lap ever, which is beating his teammate by 1.5 seconds. He beat his teammate in the same machinery by 1.5 seconds. like difference, which is unheard of. You can't. No one's ever done that ever. Only probably Hamilton, and it's only because it was in the wet and in Styria last season. But what he did, he felt he was having an out of body experience watching himself drive this lap because he was pushing him so far off the edge. And and he had to face, which were, if you got it wrong just slightly, you're in the barriers. Like there's no sort of escape roads back then. It was proper. If you got it wrong, you're screwed. So yeah, it's sometimes if the drivers have been really good and there's been and the drivers will be safe and aren't taking any risks or anything because of the risk of putting in the wall and something like that, it could end up being just one of those where people just follow behind and stuff, and it could just end up like a boring race or something. But at the same time, there's always like that battle in the midfield, and if the battle in the midfield's that close, there's always a likely chance of accidents. And then that's where the fun plays in. Yeah. So you're always going to likely see a shunt and a safety car there at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe even a red flag. So
do you know what the forecast is meant to be on Sunday in Monaco?
The forecast is supposed to be sunny. I haven't heard anything about rain. If it is rain, it makes it even more fun. Let me try and have a look.
Well, I'm looking now. I think it's sun all day.
Yeah, let me have a look.
Time's the race start, sorry. Is it 2?
I think it's...
Yeah, it won't rain. Well, that's what it says here.
Oh my God. How do you know? There you go. Yeah, Sunday. Hang on a minute. Just have a look on Sunday. Showers late at night. 50% chance of rain. 50% chance of maybe. So yeah, you never know. That's Friday. Hour by hour. Saturday, here we go. Sunday at Monaco. Yeah, it's going to be dry. It's going to be dry. Yeah, it's going to be dry. They're most likely say it's going to be dry. And they have accurate readings anyway on their radar. So, yeah. So, we'll talk about the preview a little bit more anyway. So, yeah. There's any questions you want to ask anyone, or do you want to fire away?
No. No questions.
Any reason why the cars are slower this year or anything like that? No. All right, cool. Well, if you think of any, do hit us up. Do smash the like button, everyone. Yeah, we'll try and get some more people on for the DNF1 podcast. Because obviously the DNF1 podcast, we usually doing it with, he's doing the exams for accountancy and stuff. So he's not going to be back to about late June. He will be back. Don't worry. But he's just having to focus on exams, which is fair dues. Go check his channel out because, like, if you want to know about F1, he's one of the guys to go to, right? As well as this channel, his channel, they know a lot about the F1 and real in depth. So I'll go and follow that as well. Go check it out. But yeah, we'll be back with the preview then, and I don't know how long are you around for, because I could do the preview in about half an hour actually, or 15 minutes.
I'm free until 9 o'clock, and then I've got a stream about Bielsa.
Okay, I'm just going to ask a mate, a mate of mine who's going to come on. Come on. Yeah. I'll do that. But anyway, smash that like button, please. Do smash that subscribe button. Where can I find you, Charlie?
You can find me at MCFC Hibs on Twitter. I tweet about football and mostly City. You can also find me at Dugout Daily on YouTube. We got 2 streams today. One about how Bielsa's masterminded the Premier League with his 3-3-1-3 formation, and we've got Gunners Talk at 10:15 if you want to come on for that, Stephen.
Was it 10 o'clock?
10:15.
Yeah, I'll come on, but I'll probably use these and I'll have my headphone. I'll have the camera off or something because I'll be tired. So
Yeah,
hopefully I'll
don't
be
worry.
downstairs for that. So I'll be upstairs for that. But yeah, I'll definitely come on.
Yeah, so we're live at 9 o'clock for the Bielsa stream and 10:15 for Gunners Talk. Cheers for having me on, Stephen.
No worries, mate. We are back, obviously, with a preview. Yeah, if so, in 15 minutes, something like that. Hopefully, if this guy gets back to me. If not, we'll be back for one of these 3, which I think is 8 o'clock. We'll be back by then. So, but yeah, do smash that like button as usual. Do hit that subscribe button. Yeah, and subscribe to SFeatleyTV, doing Arsenal content, doing F1 content, doing football content, as well as raising money for Children's Liver Disease Foundation, where you can do it via the donation page in the description below, straight to the charity. Right, all the funds go straight to the Just Giving page. We go straight to the charity, so you can do it there. Or you never know, you can always just do it as a super chat. It's totally up to you. It's all part of raising money. So just you watching helps us raise money. So yeah, and also watching the ads really, really, really does help as well, because that raises money as well. So if you can do that, that's even great. But we'll be back later on at either 7:30 or 8, whenever the preview is. So keep your eyes out for that. Until then, mate, we'll see you very, very, very soon. Until then, bye-bye.
See ya.